Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming today to this what is a historic day for Dane County. I'm joined today by a diverse group of farmers and clean water advocates to announce an unprecedented partnership with agriculture. A partnership with dozens of farm families that will help us reduce the amount of runoff pollution that enters our lakes. As you know, runoff full of phosphorus is a main contributor to the algae that forms on our lakes. Reducing this runoff is critical to our efforts to clean up our lakes. And how we address it can be as simple as putting a roof over animal feeding areas or planting grass along ditches and streams. We also partner with families to restore dozens of miles of farm ditches full of decades worth of phosphorus and sediments, further reducing phosphorus runoffs in our lakes. Our farmers are the backbone of Dane County. They contribute billions of dollars to our local economy, and they work hard to be good stewards of the land. Our 400 Dane County dairy farms and 50,000 cows result in a $700 million dairy industry and 4,000 jobs. I'm honored to work with our families, our farmers, on this important effort to clean up our lakes. I'm also proud to announce a new 5-year plan that the county and our clean water partners will implement to continue our work to reduce pollutants in our lakes. It's called the Dane County Water Partnership. A key component is now underway: the elimination of direct pollutant pipelines, also known as stormwater outfalls. These pipelines contribute to high lake levels after heavy rain and provide a conduit for sediment and phosphorus-filled debris such as grass clippings and leaves to enter our lakes. We will retrofit 6 of these pipelines alone this year. We will also continue our partnership with agriculture to build a second cow power facility. The county's first cow power manure digester will process over 30 million gallons of manure annually to reduce phosphorus and generate $2 million in homegrown green electricity. Another key part of our plan is keeping the water where it lands through wetland restoration in the Yahara Lakes watershed. Every acre of wetland we restore absorbs 1 million gallons of flood water. Keeping that extra water out of our lakes is critical. As you know, cleaning up our lakes is a big job that will take many years to accomplish. That is why another key goal of the Water Partnership is continuing the collaboration we've built with our Clean Lake stakeholders, many of whom are here today. And I'd like to mention just a few of those folks who are with us. On our Lakes and Watershed Commission, we have a number of county supervisors who serve on that body. Supervisor Brett Halsey, Supervisor Corrigan, Supervisor Erickson, and Supervisor Miles are with us today. The chair of our Lakes and Watershed Commission, Melissa Malat, is with us, as is Sue Jones, who's the director of the Lakes and Watershed Commission. We also have our friends from the Clean Lakes Alliance and many more with us here today. I'd like to take a moment to recognize their efforts and to thank them for all that they do to help us clean up our lakes. Our lakes are so critical to our quality of life here in Dane County. They bring new residents and visitors to our county every year, and they're a vital part of our local economy. This initiative with our farm families, contained within the Dane County Water Partnership, moves us forward at an important turning point in the health of our lakes. Thank you again for coming today, and we're going to hear from a couple other folks. First, we're going to hear from Melissa Malat from the Lakes and Watershed Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. I'm Melissa Malat, Chair of the Dane County Lakes and Watershed Commission. First of all, I thank County Executive Parisi for bringing attention to these issues and showing right off the bat that these are priorities. The county is focused in on the top priority issues that County Executive Parisi mentioned, and I'm happy to see a commitment to continue this work. We're able to take the step forward today because of the foundation that the county has built in previous years. It's a foundation of work worthy of reviewing. While our lakes have been studied for decades, the county's leadership, exemplified especially in the last 3 years in initiating and as part of the Yahara Clean Project, along with state agencies and local nonprofits like Clean Wisconsin, is what brings us here today. Yahara Clean, and CLEAN is an acronym that stands for Capital Lakes Environmental Assessment and Needs, was finalized last fall with a report. The report incorporates the sweat equity of local and state staff, hundreds of citizens, and dozens of agency, university, and other experts. The Clean Report describes a clean future for the Yahara Lakes, identifies the greatest pollution problems and where they come from, and provides a list of over 70 actions to address our top priority pollution problems. The action items on that list are scientifically sound, cost-effective, practical, high impact, and will produce measurable results. The report laid out a plan for prioritizing these actions, finishing the cost analysis, tying in a computer model in development that will predict how the lakes will respond to phosphorus reductions, which will result in fewer algae blooms and have increased water clarity, and identify responsible parties and funding. The CLEAN team of agency representatives from Dane County, the City of Madison, DNR, and DATCAP has gone a long way in preparing that detailed implementation plan. The Yahara Clean Report has already resulted in several tangible implementation steps. Agency partners have invested millions over the last 3 years while the Clean Report was in development to implement what we already knew were priority actions, including the manure digester, farm conservation plans to reduce phosphorus runoff, wetlands purchases, and urban stormwater practices. Additionally, the county has worked on policy levers to create practical, cost-effective ways to clean up our watershed, and has worked with Madison Metropolitan Sewerage District, statewide municipalities, and environmental groups. I'm really excited to hear about this partnership today. This is the critical next step in moving forward to clean up our lakes, and working with farmers across the watershed is so crucial to what we're going to do next. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa. Next, we're going to hear from another one of our very important partners, Pat Leavenworth, who's the state conservationist with the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service. Pat?
Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to be here today. I always welcome the opportunity to celebrate our federal partnership with Dane County. They have been an important partner in helping us deliver conservation programs for decades. And I can't even measure the amount of good in conservation we've been able to do thanks to that partnership. My agency, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, is a conservation agency in the U.S. Department of Agriculture. We have field offices in every county in the state, and we're fortunate in this county to be co-located with the Dane County Land and Water Conservation Department. I want to talk about one of our programs which Dane County has partnered with us over the last 2 years, and it's called the Mississippi River Healthy Watersheds Initiative. And it's a special initiative that was established by our chief, Dave White, 2 years ago to focus on improving the water quality of the Mississippi River and to address the Gulf hypoxia issue. It involves 12 states, everywhere from here down to Louisiana. We work directly with producers in selected watersheds to help avoid, control, and trap nutrient runoff, and to improve wildlife habitat. We do this along with the landowners, and they keep their operations productive at the same time. It's a voluntary program, and we provide cost sharing. We assist the producers in setting up a system of conservation practices for which we have technical standards, and they're specifically tailored for their operations, and they make the decisions on what practices should be applied. And these practices will improve water quality along the length of the entire Mississippi River Basin, and again, hopefully reduce the hypoxia issue in the Gulf of Mexico. NRCS has made a significant commitment financially to this initiative, $80 million in each fiscal year from 2010 to 2013. And this $80 million is in addition to our regular program funding. Last year, 2 Wisconsin projects were selected. One was here in Dane County and one in Walworth County. And the Dane County Land and Water Resources Department took the opportunity and the challenge to apply for this funding. And they wanted to focus their efforts to help Lake Mendota and the Yahara chain of lakes and ultimately the Mississippi River. Dane County received $2 million for farmland conservation practices to reduce nutrients and sediment flowing into Lake Mendota and the upper Mississippi Basin. In all, 76 projects in 12 states were funded, and efforts will improve water quality in not only the local watershed, but also cumulatively improve the health of the whole basin. Dane County just completed their second sign-up, and it was highly successful. They had to do this in a very short period of time. They're very talented people in Dane County who know their conservation. With over $800,000 in conservation practice contracts in these first 2 years, Dane County has been able to help farmers protect their land and water and enable them to be outstanding stewards of the land. And we should be proud of all of them, along with being proud of the efforts of Dane County. And I'm just honored to be here today and to be with all these important partners. I see a lot of familiar faces and people I've worked with for many, many years. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. And finally, we're going to hear from one of our very important partners, a Dane County farmer who not only contributes greatly to Dane County's economy through his operation, but who's also been a great partner in this initiative to tackle some of the issues, and has worked wonderfully with us and is a very, very important person for us to be working with. So I'm very happy to introduce Jeff Endress.
Thanks, Joe, and thank you for the opportunity to talk on behalf of the good stewards of the land, the Dane County farmer. I would like to share some of the great conservation practices that are being implemented on the farms. As you may know, farmers tend to look across the fence to see what their neighbor is up to. I guess I'm no exception. For I look across the fence, and what do I see? I see green grass waterways and diversions that have been maintained to look like the day they were constructed 30 years ago. I see sediment containment structures that catch runoff water and release it slowly, so sediment and phosphorus can settle and be kept on the land. I see more livestock than ever housed under roofs and not on open lots where different sources of runoff could occur. I see farmers that have scrapped their moldboard plows in the 80s, which was more than a 100-year-old practice, to start a conservation tillage revolution that has cut soil loss by 60%. New practices and equipment are invented each year, many times by farmers themselves. Today, more fields are planted with no tillage at all, with great success. I see safer and less herbicides being applied to fields than ever because of herbicide-resistant seed. I see more 590 nutrient management plans being carried out by farmers, which take into account recycling nutrients back onto the field, so only the plant's needs are put onto the fields to produce that year's crop. I see recycled nutrients being spread on more fields than ever, which is good because organic matter adds tilth to the soil, allowing soil to absorb and hold more moisture and minimize runoff. I see farmers side dressing corn with nitrogen when the corn needs the nitrogen the most, rather than putting it all on at one time, risking nitrogen runoff or nitrogen moving into the water table. I see new technology like the state-of-the-art manure digester that was built with the cooperation of 3 farmers and private business. Both were willing to take a risk of doing something different to deal with livestock waste. This could start a whole new way to handle livestock waste, similar to what happened with conservation tillage. I see new ideas being tested, like buffer strips, different types of cover crops, and wet soil management. I see many opportunities for cost sharing to implement conservation practices through the Sands County Foundation, the NRCS programs like the Mississippi River Basin Initiative, and EQIP. I see the potential of these types of programs pairing up with programs of private sector money that get things done quicker and with broader effects. I see elected leaders and private sector businesses that don't point fingers, but would rather help implement new technology and practices to help continue cleaning up the Yahara River Basin. I see a need to continue the practices that have been proven and have worked well for many years, while trying new ideas that may be better fit for our changing farms. This is what I see. Let's work together to share the same vision.
Jeff, thank you, and thank you to everyone for coming here today. And it's kind of apropos that it's raining while we're having this conference because of what we're doing, we're going to keep more of this water where it falls. So we'd be happy to take any questions that you may have right now.
Can you explain how the grants will work? The $2 million, how will those go to farmers? And are any of those the outfall, or is that just for farmer contributions?
Yeah, let me have Kevin Connors from Land and Conservation step forward and give you some of the details of the mechanics of that. Kevin? Thought we'd get you wet too. You can't just.
Well, I could wear a raincoat. The Natural Resource Conservation Service, along with Land Conservation Division, work with farmers to develop conservation plans. Cost sharing agreements are developed through that interaction, and then the Natural Resource Conservation Service will have a contract with each individual farmer who wants to install the necessary practices.
Will they have to put forward a proposal on what they're going to do?
As part of the conservation plan is a series of decisions on how the farmer wants to manage the land for water quality and soil erosion. And any changes that are appropriate or necessary for implementing that plan would be considered for cost sharing by the USDA, Natural Resource Conservation Service.
So it's cost sharing. How much is it split?
It's usually 70-30 or 50-50.
And what's the average size grant?
It varies from small, from $3,000 to $200,000.
And what does it cost to dig out a ditch, plant grass?
Grass waterway generally would be a couple thousand dollars an acre. The buffers would be several $100s, per acre. That would be in grass strips along the ditch lines.
On the map, you said you got 25 farmers. How many more are there in that area that is the goal to target?
Ideally, all of the landowners within the priority areas are eligible to participate. If they have proven a conservation need where there are some improvements that could be made. So our goal is 100% of those that are eligible.
How many more are there?
There's 134.
Is funding sufficient to cover this project for 5 years, or is it 2 year? What do you have? $2 million is enough for 5 years?
The funding is allocated on an annual basis by USDA, Natural Resource Conservation Service. The $2 million is what we projected as when the application was submitted to meet the high priority needs that would also benefit not only the producers but also the water quality needs of the watershed.
Joe, there's been a lot done on phosphorus in the past few years. Where does this, everyone's always said, don't deal with the detergent or the lawnmower stuff, it's more about the farmers. How does this compare to what the legislature had passed in terms of phosphorus in your soap and banning phosphorus sale for fertilizer?
Yeah. Phosphorus has many sources. There are many points from it. From, in the past, from the soap we used in our dishwasher, etc., to urban lawns where it can be spread, as well as in the rural areas. So we're taking a holistic approach. We're addressing it on many different fronts. And what we're seeing right now is the farm community coming up and saying, we have some ideas and we want to partner with you. We're good stewards of the land and we're going to work with you to address this piece of the issue. So what we're seeing is just part of an overall holistic approach. I think what we're seeing that I'm excited about is a broad partnership and momentum that's starting to move us forward. We've been doing a lot of good work for many years that has brought us to the point where we can continue now and we can secure more of these grants, and I see it as part of an ongoing process that's benefiting all of us.
Weren't farmers traditionally responsible for keeping their waterways clean and open? Why do they now need a grant to help do what they used to be required to do?
Well, we all benefit from farming. We all benefit from the lakes. We're all part of the same community, and so we're coming together as a community and partnering with each other in a mutually beneficial manner.
Are there that many that are that far behind, or how big is the concern?
Well, I don't see it as anyone being behind. As time goes on and we get more information about what happens with the nutrients that are put on our land, and when we get more information about runoff and how it occurs and where the different sources are, just as we're looking at some of the pipes that go directly into our lakes right now as a source of sediment and runoff, often from more urban areas, we're addressing those. And just like we're looking at that, we're looking at the rural areas as well. Come on, you bet.
The issue regarding cost sharing for agriculture is really been continued from the Dust Bowl days, and a lot of the times the producers, the farmers themselves, don't necessarily have the cash resources available to install these conservation practices that not only benefit for their farm, but as Joe mentioned, also benefit downstream resources, reduce soil erosion, improved water quality, more food production, and that is really very significant and important for the community.
Any other questions? I know my staff is hoping there'll be more so I can stand out here in the rain as long as possible. They're enjoying this, but thank you everyone for being here today. Thanks again, we appreciate it.